Thank you for coming to do this interview today.
No problem.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and why don't we start off by having you introduce yourself to our lovely audience?
Alright, my name's Alex. I've been making weapons, well, for years, and I do it as a business and pretty much for anybody that's willing to pay for it.
Now, perhaps the most important question is, how did you meet the Doll Man?
Well, he found out about me through the usual way. Since I'm well known in my small town, he found me by buying one of my pieces at one of the local vineyards that's around me, like one of the pawn shops and flea markets, and he asked simply, where did they come from? Sure enough, they referred him to me. And in so doing, started our little, I guess you could call it, relationship.
Okay. Speaking of your business relationship with the Doll Man, the police never persecuted you due to lack of evidence. Some people say it's because you have personal ties to the Startown police that you managed to evade criminal charges. How would you comment on that?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it's not true. Both the local police and even the sheriff, for that matter, as he knows he's probably watching this, they know stuff about me, I know stuff about them. So in other words, we stay away from each other's stuff. That's the simplest way to put it.
See, I know you've been asked this several times already, but when you would conduct business with the Doll Man, did you ever see him without the mask?
No.
No? My follow-up question is, obviously the Doll Man had some very peculiar behaviors.
Yes.
How did that not spark any suspicion?
Well, I'll put it this way. What's normal?
Now, during one of the videos filmed, the Doll Man can be seen attempting to attack you, and in a later interview with police, you stated that was not staged. My question to you is, were you aware, and if so, did you continue to do business with them?
As far as me being aware, yes I was. Given my past experiences, I've dealt with plenty of people similar, and I've picked up a notion to know when someone's either going to stab me in the back or betray me. So in other ways, I always know. And yes, I continued doing business with him because he did pay well. I had to give him that at least. His arrogance might be another thing, but he always held up his end, I always held up mine.
So you never felt like he was a threat?
No. My experience, I've dealt with worse for people than he is.
From what I understand, you have some of the Doll Man's original possessions. How did you get a hold of these items, and how come they're not in police custody right now?
Well, the local police deemed they weren't insignificant enough to be held for evidence. Rather, that reason, I have no clue. I don't think I can tell you that. But the reason I got a hold of him was because he wanted to pay me for another project, and due to him having to leave in such a hurry, he didn't have the funds. So he paid me these items because he's been in my armory in the past, and he knows my collection. I collect memorabilia. So he gave me these items to hold for him in exchange if he failed to pay me, all the stuff becomes mine. Or if he comes later or whatever and pays me, then I'll give him her stuff back.
He hasn't been.
No.
Some people would like to know what led to the creation of his now infamous doll knife.
Yes, I will admit, when he first came to me with a design, I was very skeptical. Because I said it was the weirdest design I had ever seen, and that's coming a lot from me. But he and I sat down for I think an hour and talked about it, and he sold me on it. And eventually I put the materials together, and I was actually very fortunate. I was going through my stuff, I found a blade that was perfect, and we chatted for a while, and sure enough, the Doll Man's knife was born. He even broke the knife once and brought it back to me, and I fixed it without a problem and gave it back to him. In exchange, he paid me a small fee.
How does he pay for all these bills and weapons that he has to make now?
Most of the time, he pays me in cash. And sometimes he has paid me in materials as well. Like if he doesn't have the funds, he'll either get me the materials, I keep what's left, he takes what he wants.
Were you ever concerned that the money that he was giving you was from previous victims? No? If the doll man were to attack, were you ever prepared for an event like that happening?
Oh, most definitely. I've dealt with plenty of people like him over the years, and they're very predictable once you know the nature of the animal, is the best way to put it. And yes, I'll say I'm very prepared. I'm not going to say like some idiots, they have like a bomb rigged around their house. No, I'm not that stupid.
Now, YouTube has attempted several times to have the Star 10 videos and channel removed after much public outcry, but the platform itself is said to continuously be hacked by some unknown source, keeping the doll man's crimes available for public viewing. Would you happen to know anything about this alleged source?
No. I mean, I'm not as perverse with technology like he is, the doll man, and so I would say no. I have no way of knowing how it's still available. I'm surprised it's still available to some degree, but in one way I'm not.
A lot of people are obviously wanting to know, and I personally wanted to ask you this. In your honest opinion, where do you think the doll man is hiding?
My honest opinion? Well, funny coincidence, a couple months back, he did ask me what is the perfect place to go hide, and I told him it would have to be a place that is secluded, far out of human range, where he could easily build a fortress, fortify it, and live there for decades and nobody would know. That's my personal opinion. So it'd have to be a place that is isolated, not easy to get to, and yet has good resources that you can survive on. That's my opinion.
Now, before we started the interview, you've stated you have a lot of the doll man's old possessions.
Yes.
And that is what is laid out here all over this table you have here, correct?
You are correct.
Now, did you make all of these weapons yourself?
Not all of them, but yes, most of them. He either acquired these by having me make them for him, or he just simply bought them from me, because I have abilities to get weapons even if I don't make them.
Would you mind showing the audience the weapons that you did construct, and I guess kind of explain some of the reasoning behind it, if the doll man gave you any?
I guess first things first, with the main one, the infamous doll man's knife that I constructed, the only one of its kind. As far as the reason goes, that could be anybody's guess. But yes, this is the knife that he used in all of his murders.
Now, from what I understand, he stabbed a lady to death and slit the throat of a young man on Halloween night in 2023.
And we'll admit that's character to it, I would say. And as far as the other weapons, again, this was definitely the unusual one he had me construct. Just a classic barber's razor. All stainless steel, yada yada yada.
Any idea what he might have used this one for?
Well, I would definitely say the term is a cutthroat razor, so I guess that would really tell you what it's used for. And this one, he actually did not contract me to make. I actually made this here in my workshop. It was a gimmick idea that I threw around, and he fell in love with it, and in so doing, he bought it from me.
I see.
And it is functional, very effective. And this one, again, was another one of my favorites, and he had me contract.
Now, we've seen him actually give you a Freddy glove in a previous video.
Yes, he did. That was one of our deals that we did.
Did he eventually decide to reacquire this particular glove?
No, this one I actually gave to him. It was part of one of the best deals we had done, and I actually decided to give it to him as a way of saying thank you.
But it's not the same glove that... Okay.
The other weapons were simple ones that I did make, like these giant meat hooks that I produced.
And we can all guess what he might have used those for.
Yeah. And this is one of the weapons I did not make, but he purchased from me. Then this is another one that I did manufacture, but I manufactured it off of one of his older designs that he wanted me to make. And then, of course, this one again I did manufacture. And of course, I also manufactured this one. And last but not least, this one again I did not manufacture. He actually bought this from me. I found this through one of my local sources.
In one of your previous videos that he decided to film with you, you can be seen teaching him how to use some of the weapons.
Yeah. Given my experience and my know-how, I guess I would say, I do know how to use blades relatively easily. I can use them to effectiveness as if I was a surgeon. That's how good I am with them. And then these other items are actually ones that he himself produced. I did not make any of these. Like, he gave me this little guy, along with his mask and his jacket, which one day he may come to claim, or he may not.
I can't believe the police weren't interested in using these items for evidence, as there's...
I agree, that's...
still even obvious blood stains.
I agree.
Not only on the mask, but on the knife as well.
And you can even see here on the sheath is where I repaired it when he broke it and he brought it to me. And then later on, I even added this clip on the back because he specifically wanted it to where he could just easily clip it on a belt.
For better use. And from what I understand, you still have the costume you wore in the videos that you would shoot together. Would you mind putting the costume on for myself and the lovely viewers?
Of course.
So essentially this is the same costume the doll man would have you wear in the videos he would shoot of the two of you. Why don't you kind of explain what led to you wearing this entire suit?
Well, originally when the doll man met me, he had discovered my identity, so to speak. And this was in my closet, in my attic, actually, not my closet. And he asked me if I could get it down. And at first I pretended not knowing what he was talking about. But then he eventually caught me. So I put it all back on, and he was very impressed.
Okay. And you just didn't think it was weird?
No. But it is normal.
Yeah. Why don't you explain kind of the functionalities of this suit? Surely there was some behind this entire piece.
Oh, yes. Every piece is quality made. I've spent good money on it over the years. And each pocket in the apron is meant for different things. For instance, obviously the smaller pocket is meant for smaller items that can easily be drawn and used. And the leather obviously helps when I put hooks on right here, and another one on right here. And then the bigger pockets down below can fit various tools, like right here. And then a various other one can go right here. That helps me a lot. And of course, being in other layers, I can also in stuff underneath it and onto my belt.
Well, I thank you for doing this interview today. I definitely feel like you've given us and the viewers a chance to get more of a glimpse into the doll man's head and just given us more information behind his terrible, terrible crimes. And of course, we appreciate you suiting up as well for this video. Is there any final remarks you would like to make in regards to the tragedies that have happened over the past couple of Halloweens?
It's Halloween. Everyone loves a scary story.